What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Joker back again, once again, and we're gonna have a bit of a ramble about Destiny 2, because holy shit, ladies and gents, it's here, and oh, wow. Just wow. I mean, look at this, the city's in flames. Holy fuck. So I guess this legitimizes why our gear won't be coming forward, even though we have the vaults on the reef and the Iron Temple, but details. Unless these things are attacked as well, fuck. I mean, the reef is in no shape whatsoever to stop an invading armada.
You and I know how this ends. We've known since you escaped from that pit. The Awoken have played their part. This was all part of the plan. Guide them, my hidden friend. It is all up to you now.
Provided that's what happens, you know. We could see the utter destruction of the reef, and Queenie won't be happy. But at least Rise of Iron finally has a point in the greater lore. I mean, think about it. In the context of Destiny 1, what was the point of Rise of Iron? To tell us the Iron Lord's story? I mean, okay. Everything else kind of had a point. I mean, Crota led up to Taken King. House of Wolves solidified our alliance with the Reef, which led up to Taken King. Rise of Iron, being the last expansion, really didn't have anything that was far-reaching. It seemed pretty encapsulated. We went in, we killed Siva, we killed Axis, we contained everything, and then nothing. Nothing at all. It doesn't really look like Siva will have that much of an impact on Destiny 2. That said, what did Destiny 2 bring us? It brought us the Iron Temple. The Iron Temple has a point. Now that the city is destroyed, it can act as our new base of operations on Earth. Just something to think about. Moving forward, so the city's destroyed. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the big thing. The city is destroyed. Something invaded the city. Something has attacked it. I mean, I guess destroyed is kind of a jump to a conclusion. However, it has at least been attacked. And I touched on that in my first video, but I wanted to go into, like, larger theories and discussions. I mean, again, this is just kind of off the cuff, so take it as it is. It's not scripted. It's just me looking over a couple of notes that I have, but yeah, so what happened? What has happened to the city? Well, the likely culprit, as I touched on in my original video, it's likely the Cabal. I mean, everything kind of points to that. We had the Mega Bloks leak, we had the distress signal at the end of Taken King, we had, you know, just the fact that the Cabal hasn't gotten proper representation in Destiny as far as either being the focus of the main game, like the Vex, being the focus of the DLC, like the Hive, or the Fallen. The Cabal have just been kind of there, so I think it is about time that the Cabal have a game, but that's not the only theory. There's actually a lot of, like, really cool, legitimate theories that could be what's happening. However, I do want to say, take a lot of these with a grain of salt. The tinfoil hats are obviously coming out, so the Cabal is likely. That's probably what's going to happen. I think all signs point to it happening. I think that is the most legitimate thing that will happen. However, another theory from My Name is Bife. I'm a huge fan of this guy. He's one of the best Destiny content creators. I mean, if you know me, if you're like seeing my videos and watching my Destiny videos, you know about Bife. Anyways, he's talking about how it could be this guy named Lysander. Yeah, I had no fucking clue who this was either, but there are 4 entries about him in the grimoire and item descriptions and quest descriptions. So let's go ahead and go over that and kind of get up to speed on who this guy is. So, a symbol of honor, the mission's flavor text says, there was a campaign to call it Lysander's Folly. Now this is talking about the Galahorn. But I don't want people to even remember his name. Now this is said by a Ray in the flavor text of the symbol of honor mission. Then there's the Ghost Fragment City Age, which is a meeting of the consensus, and they're talking about filling the gap that's left by removing the Concordat, Lysander's faction. The card goes on to say, and so it is agreed the Concordat shall no longer be recognized amongst the consensus. We shall begin dismantling right away. But what of those guardians who have pledged to them? We can't afford any more banishments. It goes on then to have this conversation where it's like, oh, well, we'll get Zavala to do something about it. We'll do our best. Lysander chose his followers wisely. It may take some time. Lysander won't back down. He'll continue his crusade from wherever we stuff him. It goes on and on and on and talks about, different ways that they can kind of fill in the Concordat's void. This is also when they decide that the future war call is going to be a recognized faction in the tower. So I guess they figured, well, maybe if we bring in another faction that's kind of extreme, but not like Lysander extreme, then maybe we can handle this. I don't know. That's kind of what I got from that. Then it goes on to talk about how Shax has business. He wants to propose the Crucible. So this is the first mention of the Crucible as well. So Lysander, again, happened probably after Twilight Gap, but before the Crucible, while Shax was probably still an Iron Lord. There's some hints of Shax being an Iron Lord in the lore. Anyways, so the Bannerfall card goes on to tell us Lysander and his Concordat mark the most recent example of the city's political factions rising up in opposition to the consensus. This site marks the legendary battle where the new monarchy's guardians rose to deliver the final blow to the Concordat, unraveling the war effort Lysander sought to bring against the Vanguard. Shax has commemorated this area not only to commemorate the last stand, but as a reminder to the city's solidarity against those who seek to undermine the extreme efforts and sacrifice we make together to keep our peace. And then we have the most recent mention of Lysander coming from the Lysander's Cry Grimoire card, attained during the SRL event where we got the Lysander's Cry Sparrow. It says each guardian wants something: greater speed, a rare weapon, a secret. Learn what it is, use it. According to the Hidden, in the wilderness beyond the city, Lysander rallies his supporters and plots his return. Some whisper of sympathizers in the tower and hidden gifts for guardians who honor him. So Lysander is essentially this guardian who, like Osiris, like Tolan, and who knows who else, who had ideas that went against the established doctrine of the tower. Apparently, it makes a lot of sense, and he gathered a lot of supporters following his ideology. It looked like he might be a threat, so New Monarchy was sent in to essentially put him down. Lysander escaped or was banished, and has been gathering guardians with promises of power ever since. I like this guy. I like him as a villain. I think this is really cool, really intelligent, really smart. I just don't see him as the main antagonist of an entire game. I see him as the main antagonist of a DLC, of maybe an expansion after the main Destiny line has come out, like Destiny 2, and then Destiny 2 Lysander's Cry, I don't see him as the main villain, the main antagonist, the main threat for Destiny 2. It doesn't mesh with me. It's kind of like the Cabal. I'm like, well, the Cabal, yeah, they deserve their own game at this point, or they deserve their own expansion at this point, because everybody else has gotten one. But at the same time, there's not enough interesting things in the lore to really warrant hype about the Cabal. The Vex as an enemy make way more sense than anyone else, because there is a lot of those breadcrumbs, a lot of those seeds already planted with Osiris, with the Exo-Stranger, with all the time travel, with the Vault of Glass, with the Heart of Darkness, with all the stuff that we don't understand with the Vex. So it makes way more sense that we would have a Vex-themed mainline game and then a Cabal DLC, a Lysander DLC, a Fallen DLC, and then maybe a Hive DLC with Ziva-Roth or whatever. But as a mainline game, it doesn't jive well with me. But hey, that's just me, right? You guys could have a completely different opinion. Let me know those in the comments below. Anyways, other outstanding possibilities, and this is where we get real, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the tinfoil hats really come out. So, the 9. I don't know if you've noticed, but over the last 3 years, half the exotics in the game are evil, or are actively trying to kill us, or actively trying to control us. The 9 have been giving us all these exotics for a measly 13 strange coins. So the most powerful weapons in the game, available, 13 strange coins. They also freed Skolas. If anybody else remembers that, Xur freed Skolas under the orders of the 9. And what happened? Well, Skolas used Vex technology to bring the House of Wolves into the future to try to kill us. Another possibility? The Ahamkara. The Ahamkara are kind of ambiguously dead but not dead, O bearer of mine, and we did try to annihilate them. If they're not gone, they may be coming back for some payback, because, yeah, we did try to kill them, and there's a huge link, a huge tie between them and the darkness in the lore. In fact, they may very well be the worm gods. We don't know. There's a lot of literary devices, a lot of literary comparisons, but they're tangential at best. So, moving forward, it could be Rasputin. Remember, he doesn't really like Guardians that much. And he could decide at any time to just drop war stats on the city. Orbital death and all. Plus, he is the one who originally crippled the Traveler. Just saying. Another possibility, and this is really Spinfoil Hat territory, so if you look at the Destiny 2 image, it looks like the Traveler is healing, compared to where it was in, say, Destiny 1. What if, by virtue of accident, it starts radiating energy, kind of like solar flares or whatnot, only with a light, and it makes the city uninhabitable? The Guardians are forced to flee from the city and try to save as many people as they can, as the Traveler just shoots out energy, making it unlivable. This would be an opportunity for the darkness to attack us. I mean, it's not impossible. Another, more sinister possibility is a second Traveler. Dun dun dun, or a Nemesis Star, you know, whatever you want to call it. Dun dun dun. Yeah, so apparently if you look at this image, the one that Bungie put on Facebook, you can see something under the Traveler, but smaller. It looks like the Traveler, it's kind of under it. I think it looks like a crater or a hole in the wall, but people are really hyped about this. People are saying, oh hey, this could be a Nemesis Star. I mean, it makes a allusion to that in Rise of Iron when we get the Nemesis Star machine gun. So, I mean, this could be it. Could be. But I think that is probably the most far-fetched. The only way that I could see that happening is if the Cabal had, like, their own version of the Traveler, and it was like the Darkness, the Dark Traveler, the Dark Star, and that is why the Cabal are coming to us. But then that doesn't even really make sense, because the Cabal have been in our system for some time now, and they didn't do anything. They stood down, they didn't do anything. It wasn't until Oryx came in and just totally destroyed them, started taking them, that they decided that they were going to call home and get the Emperor to come. So, if the Emperor's coming and he brings a Nemesis Star Traveler, then you know what? I said it here first. I said it would be a possibility. So, there's that. As far as other things, I don't know. I think that's, other than like a city revolt or the Guardians being evil the whole time, or the, not evil the whole time, but like the Speaker being evil, dun dun dun, I don't really think there's any other possibilities for why the city is being destroyed. Nothing that makes sense. I don't think any of the other enemies, like the Fallen or the Hive, are really in a position to do anything, and I think just from a game development standpoint, I don't think Bungie wants to create another game at this point in time, after Taken King and after Rise of Iron, that mainline and main theme the Hive and the Fallen, because we've already done that a couple times now. We haven't done anything with the Vex, and we haven't done anything with the Cabal. So I think that those are the two biggest possibilities, especially with the Exo Stranger ties, that could be happening. The Exo Stranger has pretty much told us, I mean, she went back in time, right? She went back and diverted entire timelines to make sure that we fought the Heart of the Black Garden. That we went in and fought the Vex. So I think it's the Vex. It's probably the Cabal. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And like always, stay frosty.